welcome back to another episode of Talk the Walk. Today we got J.Rob the Chief. You may know him from his song Goat Talk. He's a singer, songwriter, and music artist. Recently baptized in December and recently married in November. Yeah. Welcome to the show, man.
Appreciate you, brother.
Absolutely. So take me kind of through your testimony. Take me all the way back. Did you grow up in the church? How did you kind of get into the music industry?
Grew up in the church, you know what I mean? Like a lot of people do. St. Louis, I just like different church vibes. It was like here in Phoenix, it was this church vibe. Go to Midwest, you got the old school, Baptist church vibe. Mm-hmm. So it's like I definitely grew up in the church. I always felt like I was still close to God, but I think I got ignorant at a point where I'm like, oh, God knows where my heart is. You know what I'm saying? I don't need to go to church. I don't need to do this. Like, God knows where my heart is. I pray in the morning, I pray at night. But I think eventually I got to the point where I grew up. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, all right, that's not enough. And I'm a dad, and it's time to like fully get there mentally. So lost my dad when I was 10 years old, and had that hurt. You know what I'm saying? Mm. So I feel like I've always dealt with some type of pain, and I didn't really identify it, and it wasn't really anything to like bring closure. So I feel like once I got back into the Word, I started feeling what I was missing, you know what I mean? And just bringing my now wife, mm-hmm. into the Word, and then our kids. I feel like everything is coming full circle, and yeah. So here I am now with mm-hmm. you. So
right on, man. How'd you get tapped into the music industry?
My dad.
He's the one who got you started. How old were you when you lost him?
10.
Okay, and he started you off that early in the music.
Oh man, what? It was like, so I was performing family reunions
as a 10-year-old.
As a 7-year-old, what? Like, I'm, you know what I mean? Like, rapping in a suit, like, those type of videos. So, he had me doing that. I would write after my homework. It was homework and then write, then PlayStation. It was no, it was not. And then I can go out and ball or whatever. Like, it was everything was homework. Writing was homework. Mm-hmm. Batting practice was homework. It was just he created a lot of structure in my life, and so he was an artist, and I still got his CD. Mm-hmm. And still, like, I can still bump it and hear his voice, you know what I mean? So that's a beautiful thing. But yeah, he definitely got me into the music.
So you just started writing, recording, all these things. Like, when did you feel like you really started to feel like, oh man, I can make a career out of this?
So I never recorded until after he had passed. So it's funny because like the first thing I ever recorded on was like a little tape player. Mm-hmm. And that was just me playing music in the background, like on a CD player, and then hitting record on the tape, you know what I'm saying? But I didn't record music until like my freshman year in high school. I was out in St. Louis cutting grass, and I saved up funds, and my grandpa bought me. I gave him the cash, and he ordered it off of Guitar Center for me. So he ordered the interface, the laptop, the mic stand. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, so you had like a full studio setup.
15 years old, freshman year, and because I used to follow these cats on YouTube. They were named Young Deuce. They're out of Ohio. Them and Timothy De La Ghetto. It was funny. So I watched them, and I would like look at their equipment and figure out like what I needed. Mm-hmm. And then I think one time they made a video of like everything you needed to have your own studio. And me and Grandpa just on Guitar Center ordered it. By the time I got back home, it was there. And it's funny, I tell people, like everybody got their Xboxes taken if they got in trouble.
You got your studio taken?
My studio was taken, yeah.
Did you take a lot of heat for it in your freshman year? Because I think about like the dudes who like my freshman year started putting stuff out on SoundCloud, they got flamed.
Oh, bro, what? I remember, so I started out just making beats.
Yeah.
And I can still remember, I could hear the name of the beat. It was called Explosion. And I had the bus driver play it.
Yeah.
And the bus driver put it in on the bus. And I was like, I thought it was so fire, right? Yeah. And everybody on the bus is just like, yo, this is trash. Yeah. And I'll never forget it. Like, it was, yo. Like, it was trash. But I'll never forget that moment. Like, it was like, all right, like, I got to get better. And like, every year I did get better, you know what I'm saying? So come senior year, I was cool.
Okay.
You know
Props to you for not giving up. I feel like a lot of people would have been like, all right, I'm done. I'm done with tiling.
It's funny because at the end of my senior year, I ended up winning this YouTube challenge from those cats in Ohio that I watched their videos on like how to get your own studio. So it all came full circle. It was cool, man.
Yeah, it's so, oh man, I think about these dudes back in my high school. They were corny until it wasn't. We flamed them all freshman year, and then they eventually signed a record deal.
Okay.
My freshman year, but their senior year, and it was like the coolest thing ever. So
yeah,
it just reminds me of all the times it's corny till it's not.
Right, exactly.
So then you start making music, you start to record, and then post high school, you win this award. How do you get tapped in? Like, because I mean, you eventually wrote songs for Sugar Sean. You've walked out Mike Perry at Bare Knuckles. Like, take me through the whole career and how it's kind of turned out.
So graduated high school. That's when I ran track in high school. Mm-hmm. So I went to GCC. My coach there was just like not somebody who I felt should coach me. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like coaching me from a golf cart. It's like it was just one of those things. Like I don't think you could do what you're coaching me to do. So I didn't really. And I was 18, right? Mm-hmm. So I decided, like, you know what? Forget this. Like I'm gonna just do music. You know what I mean? I took music business. I went to GCC for 2 semesters, and after I graduated my music business course, I was like, all right, I got everything I need. Yeah. So I just started working on my music, and I got a job at a streetwear shop, clothing, you know what I'm saying? And I was just like literally slaying my CDs. They sold mixtapes out that shop, and they ordered the mixtapes straight from New York. So it was like I didn't overstep because it was like 3 for $10 at that time. Mm-hmm. I didn't overstep. But if I saw they had change, like if it was like 3 for $10 and they gave me a 20, I'm like, yo, I got a mixtape, $5. If it's trash, you can come back and slap me and put it on World Star. Promise you. That's how I would sell my CDs. I'm like, yo, like I'm talking just probably the best money I ever made. Like slanging my CDs out of that shop, telling people if it's trash, you can come back and slap me.
Yeah, bad.
And put it on World Star. Taken that deal this is prime 2012, 2013. So it's like World Star was hot. And very rare that I get, like, I'm like, yo, it's $3. Here's your change. You want to use your change to grab my CD? If it's trash, you can come back and smack me. Do it. Everybody, bro. Everybody. Yeah. I'm talking, I had cash in my closet. It was crazy. And I started performing, like, getting in the local scene and finding out who was hot here, like, who was older, who was, like, I respected the OGs who were hotter. I found, like, who was the younger cats that were hotter. I'm, like, 20 at that time, 19, 20. And then I just got in. Mm-hmm. And then I got a track with Futuristic. This was 2013. That's really what kind of like smacked me on the scene. It's like, all right, he started popping off and doing his own records, and then got a record with like the hottest artist out.
And Jacob Owens, he's on the video side. He was exploding at the time too. Yeah. So it was just dual exposure. I remember Futuristic everywhere back in the day.
So Jacob was cool. JD shot that video, but then after that video, me and Futuristic got tight. We did a few that Jacob Owens shot. And then I would shoot some videos with Jacob Owens so I can get on the Buff Nerds channel, you know what I'm saying? So it was all like looking back at it, it was definitely like very strategic in how I moved. Because I'm just very big on building relationships, but more so maintaining them. Because I think a lot of people can build them, but if you don't know how to maintain them, like there's no point, you know what I mean? So maintain those, went on tour with Futuristic in 2016. That was cool. That was like my first tour. Seattle was dope. Like Seattle's just like my favorite. One of my Seattle and Portland are always cold.
They ride for the music industry.
Yeah, they're very
and
like
people show out and they love it.
They're attentive. They put your hands up, they're putting their hands up. Put your lights up, they're putting their lights up. So, 2016 did that. Then that's like 2016 to 2019. I feel like there was like a dead space. I was dropping, but it wasn't like as active. And then 2019, I made that record for Platinum.
What is that, by the way?
We said what?
What is Platinum?
So Platinum's a record I made for Mike Perry. Yeah. Went to Vegas to meet him. Was waiting to meet him before his fight. And Joe Smo was interviewing Sean O'Malley. And actually, we'll circle back. Before all that, I did a Tyron Woodley rap contest. Nice. And I won that. Went to Sway in the morning. And
it was like a freestyle?
Yeah. It was like a 2-round competition. I won that. Tyron flew me out to Sway. I think I'm on like $5,000 or something. And then from there, Sway was like, J.Rob, I'm going to see you next week at South by Southwest. I was like, he's like, you see what I did there? He planted a seed. Yeah. Tyron calls me literally the day of, like, yo, J.Rob, can you come to Austin? My boy can't make it. He's like, can you be at the airport at 12? I was like, can you make it too? I got to get a haircut. You know what I mean? So I went to the barber, went to the airport, boom, then we got cool. And then that's how I met Mike Perry, was through that, like, cause he was messing around and did a freestyle on it too. Made him a record. Was waiting to meet him. Sean O'Malley's waiting in the same room, and met him. And it was like
Sean wasn't quite as big yet at that time.
No, I think he had won a few fights, but I think he had gotten suspended or something at that point, so he was on a little pause. Came back a few months after that, but I had hit him. just had gotten verified at that time, like I was telling you, and
The
it was
social credit score.
the credit score
Yeah.
was A1 at that time. You know what I'm saying? So it was like, yo, Sean, let's work. Seconds
Saw you were
later,
verified, boom.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That blue message was never in the request. It
This was before you could buy it.
yeah, before that. You know what I'm saying? It went straight through. So made Goat Talk. Goat Talk just went crazy. He posted a video before it was even out, and those...
Yeah, it was like the video of him just kind of doing his UFC workout stuff.
That was it. Yeah, sparring, like literally on a mat, nothing. Went crazy. I'm like, all right, let's drop it on April 20th. You know what I'm saying? So it fit him. You know what I'm saying? So that song has been crazy. Made Sugar Show shortly after that.
Do you feel like that's what really, really blew you up? Or was that just kind of just another piece?
I feel like that was, in terms of like outside of here, I would say, yeah. But it's more so like, it's a certain scene that knows that song. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's UFC.
It's like UFC and MMA fans, at least if they've heard it one time, or they've heard Sugar Show, you know what I'm saying? Or they've heard Platinum. So that song definitely blew me up in that scene. There's a lot of scenes for different artists. Like there's MMA, there's a gaming scene. Like, there's video, you get your record in a video game. So it's like, there's different scenes, and I feel like that definitely blew me up in that MMA world. And I at this point, I don't know if there's a song that is similar to that, in terms of just like a signature record. But
that's your biggest record for sure.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
13 million streams on just Spotify?
Yeah.
Do you know how many
Spotify.
total it is?
I don't.
Oh, man.
I don't. I've never done the math on that. But yeah, that's just that on there. And then you got Sugar Show totally separate. Sugar Show never got as big as.
Which one came first?
Go Talk.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Sugar Show is like hopefully like a follow-up to it. And it just
yeah.
as big.
It was just like COVID, dude. Bored at home. Like, let's do another one. Like, you know what I'm saying? Did another one. And then, yeah. So, what was that? 2020, 2021. Another year of, I don't know. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think just focus on the wrong things in that year. 22, kind of the same situation. And 23, 22, actually, I dropped a pretty good project. It was called This Was an Accident. And that is when I was back. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we did a show at Aura, and it was just live band. It was just vibes. It was crazy. I think Sean came out to that. And it was just dope. It was dope.
Sweet.
And then 23 went on tour with Michael Minnelli. That was cool. Came back, started dabbling in the country, and I'm like, yo, this is pretty dope. So I did a song called Me, Myself, and I. Mike Perry fell in love with that. It dropped about the time we went to Utah to walk him out at that fight with Bare Knuckle. That was really dope. Dope experience. That was like an arena show, like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Dope. Fire, pay-per-view.
You walked out Mike Perry. And what was cool about that is like the most brutal form of UFC. So I bet just the vibes in there. Oh, it was just hype and immaculate.
Bro, I'm talking, you seen the movie Southpaw?
Oh, yeah.
I'm talking like, yo, from the walkout to the sit down, like, it was like, all right, go sit there. You know what I'm saying? My wife, my now wife, who was just my girl at that time. See open, I'm sitting there, just pop. I'm like, yo, blood, man. You just see spit. It was crazy.
Blood. I bet the pops were loud.
Yo, it's crazy.
Because it's bone on bone.
It's bone on bone, bro.
Yeah, I know.
And then I think the first round had ended, and it was like, all right, second round ended, and you could see like his mom like get a little like, you could see it in her like eyes, a little stressed.
Mike Perry's mom?
Yeah. I'm like, yo, mom. I'm like, we good. He got this. But when I tell you movie scene, right after I said that, it was like, they waved the fight off. I'm like, I told you. Bro, I'm talking, it was straight Southpaw movie. I never felt that in my life. Like, just like that form of, it was crazy. It was so dope.
That's fire.
And then, yeah, that's one of my favorite moments as an artist. Is like the walkout, the fight, seeing the snow. Like, you know, I'm from Phoenix, you know what I'm saying? So we don't see that often. See it fall in a city, you know what I'm saying? So I thought that was cool. But at that time, I dropped a record called Me, Myself, and I. And I feel like that was like my first record where I was like just like openly talking about my pain and God. Like, you know what I mean? Not because I've talked about pain, but like people use pain to talk about other things, you know what I'm saying? But that was like the first time I really made a record to talk about my pain and losing my dad and like God. And then I made a song called On Fire that same year.
And when was this?
So On Fire came out July 23, I believe. That was more so like Your Sun Is On Fire. But Me, Myself, and I dropped December 23. And it was like that time where it was like, all right, I had just gotten back from tour. And like that's a hard feeling. Like when you're on tour for 3 weeks, to come back home and just be back home, it's like very.
When you were just on top of the world.
Yeah, it's very like there's like post-tour depression. It's like that's what we call it. You know what I'm saying? So at that time, like I was just like trying to record because it still gave me that feeling. You know what I mean? And then I'd say the following month, I had heard a song. With Forrest Frank and Hovey, Alter, and it was just like I heard it, and I just didn't stop listening to it. This is January 24. Didn't stop listening to it. Like shower, like I like to hear music in the shower, and my wife is just like she knows how I am when I like a song. It's gonna get played on repeat. So that song like really brought me closer to God. Then a song called by Pastor Mike Jr. It's called I Got It. And my mom's friend posted this photo of all of us from her dinner and used that song. And I'm like, yo, this song is dope. Like it's very like boppy but gospel. And I was listening to that. So it's Alter and that. Then Russ dropped a song called In the Dirt. And you know, he's not even really a Christian artist, but it's like I was in that phase.
He makes references every now and then.
Oh, yeah.
You can tell it's like kind of right there, but just not quite.
Yeah. So I was in that phase where I was like fresh off tour, like on a high on life or whatever, but like something in me wanted to feel whole. So you got Alter, you got I Got It, and then Rush dropped In the Dirt. And it was just like, I ain't never let the devil in, never. I was just vulnerable at that time, you know what I'm saying? And it just like, that song hit me. So it was like, you got those 3 songs on repeat. I decide like, all right, this guy's name is Pastor Mike Jr. Let me, maybe he's a pastor. Maybe, maybe I can find him. So I look him up, just big popping pastor out of Alabama. I'm like, oh, okay, he's good. So I start watching. I start watching in the church. You know what I'm saying? Watching the church. Start tithing. Talk to my boy Brandon. He's like, yo, once I started tithing.
That's when things change.
I'm like, all right, I'm going to start tithing. I didn't start 10% at first, so you know what I'm saying?
But it's okay.
So I started whatever I could, and then I'm like, all right, this feels good. You know what I'm saying? And then I got to the point where I could do my 10%. And then my boy Futuristic is like, yo, Jay, you got to come to church in person.
Futuristic's a Christian?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah. What?
I did not know that.
Yeah. And we'll get into some of him. I'm like, all right, bro. Yeah, I'll go. I kept like, I'll go. Keep like finding excuses to not go. I'm like, because in my head, I'm like, yeah, God knows what my heart is. I'm cool. Like I'm watching from the crib. You know what I mean? I'm tithing. I'm good. And then my mother-in-law gets me Hovey tickets for my birthday.
Nice.
Last year.
I just saw him. Oh, 2025?
April. Yeah, April.
Yeah, I just saw him too.
Yeah, so we were probably there.
Yeah.
And I told my boy Futuristic, I'm like, all right, look, my birthday's Friday. Hovey's here Saturday. Sunday, I'm coming to church. We're just gonna make it all about God this weekend. End up going to the church. I'm like, yo, we all sit together. It was like, I was like, yeah, nah, thank you for inviting. Like, we're here. You know what I'm saying? So, ever since that moment, I've just been in the church every week. Only time I probably miss is if I'm out of town. No, if I am out of town, I try to
actually be there. Build community. The Bible's very, very big about being in community. There's a reason you're supposed to actually go to church.
And I didn't know that until I found that. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So I found that out. And again, being in there and being in church as a kid, it's like you're at church. You know what I'm saying? So you feel like, oh, well, as long as I pray, as long as I tithe,
you don't really learn the importance of it as a kid, because as a kid, you're just kind of brought there. You didn't really have to. You didn't choose it.
Exactly.
And so once you start to choose it as an actual believer, as an adult, that's when the doors kind of open.
Yeah, and I feel like it's a choice to get up and go in the morning. It's like
sometimes it's a hard choice too.
But you start convicting yourself. Yeah. You're like, all right. For instance, I had a flight a few weeks ago. I'm like, you wake up for that flight with ease. You know what I'm saying? You got to treat the church the same way. You can't be like, I'm too tired. You know what I mean? You get up and go to work every day. If you can get up 3 hours before you actually got to go to church, but to go to work and make some bread, you can get up and go to church for an hour. If you could watch football all Sunday,
facts.
And I think that was the biggest one for me. I love sports.
Yeah, so do I.
And I spend hours daily watching sports.
Me too.
I can give 1 hour to the church, to God throughout the week, because, you know what I'm saying? That's where I started really convicting myself. I was like, all right, I'm watching 3 NBA games back to back.
Yeah.
About 2 hours, 2.5 hours each. That's 7 hours. I can go to church for an hour throughout the week. I can make sure I open my Bible and read a chapter on my lunch break. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
I had
it's
that
like,
same conviction. I've never missed a 10 o'clock Seahawks game, ever.
you know what I'm saying?
But I've missed plenty of 10:30
I'm a Rams fan,
services.
so
Oh, that sucks, bro. That sucks to suck.
Nah, we good.
Yeah, we good too, man. We got Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So, I mean, but it's exactly what you're saying, though.
Right.
Man, I've missed so many 10:30 services, but I've never missed a 10 o'clock Seahawks game.
Right.
So it's the same thing. It just, you got to let the conviction build up inside of you and just take charge. Take charge of your family and everything else. Like, you're the leader.
Right.
And you're responsible for getting your family to church.
Right.
And on top of that, you're going to be the one responsible and answering for your wife and children when you go to heaven.
Right. I'm the same way. Rams, 10 a.m. All right.
Yeah.
All right, babe. Hey, Rams play at 10. We're going to 8 o'clock service today. Y'all better be up. We going. And if y'all ain't coming, I'm going without you. But I'm going to my service and I'm going to get it in because, you know, so.
I got to get back.
Yeah, I got to get back, but I'm still going. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but I agree with that. Yeah.
Oh, where was your faith at during the whole process? Because you kind of talked about, you know, you felt like the heart knew, or the Lord knew where your heart was, and you were tithing or whatever. But, you know, when you kind of look back on maybe the Goat Talk or the Sugar Show, some of these music videos, some of this other stuff that's going on, like, where was your faith at when you're kind of doing this? It's a lot of secular music. Like,
Right.
You got a lot of girls in your music videos and all this stuff. So,
Right.
like, where were you at with your faith?
I don't feel like I really made the most secular music, but it wasn't non-secular. Like, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't faith-based music. But I feel like I said, the perfect example is like, God knows where my heart is. I pray in the morning. I pray when I have a bad thought. I'm good. Like, you know what I'm saying? But I feel like I wasn't living that way. Like, you know what I'm saying? I was focused on things I didn't need to be focused on, whether that was women or like going to get a drink or whatever it was. Like, I wasn't focused on what a man should be focused on. You know, I'm a father to a daughter, and I'm a good dad, but I feel like I'm the greatest dad, the greatest version of being a dad I've ever been now in the last 6 months, maybe a year since I got closer to God. You know, like I said, that started, what's this, 2026 now? That started January 24. So we're getting about 2 years into me really reconnecting with God. And I feel like until I got back into the actual church, I was not who I needed to be as a man to my woman or even my daughter and, you know, her daughter. So it's like, no matter where I was at that time, I wasn't where I needed to be. Yeah. You could always think that you're doing all right. And I feel like that's what a lot of people think. We post a Bible scripture on our story, and then the next thing we're posting something the total opposite of it. And that's why
Psalms in my Instagram bio. My first Instagram story is a Bible verse, but then the next song is like Nipsey Hussle, or whatever.
And there's some motivating Nipsey, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, Double Up is, you know what I'm saying? There's things that are motivating, and it gives you that vibe, but there's also great music out there that gives you exactly what you need, you know what I mean? Speaking of futuristic, you didn't know he was a Christian man. Like, he manages No Big Deal and John Keith.
I did not know that.
He manages
that's crazy.
Indie Tribe, so it's like,
wow.
Yeah, so it's like he's deep, like, and that's my dog, that's my brother. Like, if he would have never been like, "Yo, Jay, come to church," he could have gave up, like, on the text, like, because I'm sending him PMJ to listen to, like, yo, listen to this, and like, he knew I was into God, and you know, on that tour we went on in 24, it was like that's all we heard in that car. It was definitely a great tour of men becoming so awesome. Closer and like wanting to be better. And honestly, like, that tour, when I got back from home from that tour, I didn't really feel like post-tour depression. I felt more like
energized.
All right, I'm energized and I need to do something to improve my life. Like, you know what I mean? Whether that's get a job to provide for my family and not depend on these deals that are, you know, a few $1,000s a month. Like, I wanted to be a better man after that tour because I was surrounded by good people, which is a perfect example of what the church is now. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it was dope, man.
Can we expect a future tour from the Indie Tribe and yourself and some of these guys? Can you talk about that? Or?
I wouldn't even say I don't know them. Like, I listen to them. I don't know. I know Futuristic, but big fan of their music. Like, you know what I mean? If my music got to that point and that's what God wanted, and we got in the same room and that's what people wanted in terms of them, then I would love to do that. But I'm not gonna sit here and speak like I'm tight with them like that. You know what I mean? But if that's in God's plan, that'd be dope. You know what I mean? Yeah.
So just revert just a little bit. The Bible talks a lot about how the worst place you could be is either lukewarm or complacent in your faith.
Right.
Do you feel like that's kind of where you were?
Absolutely.
And so it says that's worse. It's better to just
worse.
be a complete
all the way out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I was 1 foot in and 1 foot out. Or like, I wasn't even in. I was just aware of the word, but just didn't care. I got time to be better, right? Tomorrow's promise. That was my mindset. I'm young, you know. I'll be all right.
And what were the dangers for you being in the music industry, having that mindset? Like, what could it have saved you from?
Just lust, like, you know what I'm saying? Like lust, just making bad decisions. You know what I mean? Like it could have definitely. I wouldn't say I didn't experience anything really negative in the music industry. I just feel like I wasn't present, right?
Or blessed and protected
blessed
by
and protected,
God.
But I wasn't as present as I could have been within myself. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? With my family, my sisters. Like, me and my sisters were the closest we've ever been. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's so much I'm thankful for now, just because I'm not out drinking and like focused on the wrong thing. Sober minded. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'll have a glass of wine. I love football. I'm gonna drink a beer. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I'm not out here at 3 a.m. trying to figure out what the next move is when I should be asleep. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like, I'm very grateful for where my relationship stands with my loved ones, my daughter,
awesome.
my sisters, my brother. You know what I'm saying? My mother. You know what I mean? I call my grandmother every day, and calling my grandmother makes me want to call my other grandmother. So it's like I'm more in tune with the thoughts of others, right? I don't necessarily, like, you know, we got to care. Like, we need to show care. Like, we could single-handedly change people's days. Like, you know what I mean? And that's what they talked about in church today. It was like just being the light. Like, you know what I mean? Being the light
Spread
on the hill.
Jesus'
Like,
love.
you know what I'm saying? Spread the love. So me calling my grandmother for 5 minutes and her being loved because, you know, she might be emotionally distressed. And then calling my other grandmother who lives by herself. Both of them live by themselves. That one call can change their mood. And then calling my
5
sister.
minutes was nothing for you.
Nothing. Then calling my sister. Like I said, I'm watching that game for how long?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Calling my sister, what's up, love you. What's up, nephew? You know what I mean? Calling my mom, love you. It's like, it's just certain things that I do differently that I didn't used to do. You know what I'm saying? We got time for a 15-minute Warzone game. Like, we got so much time for everything that we don't think takes a lot of time. And I feel like I just make time for things that actually make sense for me now.
That's awesome. How was it trying to transition from the secular music into Christian music? And if you didn't know, he's dropping Christian music.
Yeah.
He just dropped his single "Lost and Found," which is amazing.
Thank you,
I
man.
bumped it a bunch of times.
Appreciate you.
But so now that you've transitioned into that Christian music, how was it coming out of the secular?
I think
you'll say you didn't make secular, but anything
right,
Christian
anything not,
is
right.
secular.
I'm talking about alcohol. I'm talking about women. You know what I'm saying? Talking about whatever. So I think it was easier because I did go from like hip hop. Then I kind of went like right in the dead middle with country, because country is like about as close to Christian music as you can get without being Christian music, I guess you would say.
It's also kind of close to hip hop, though.
It's like right there.
It's really hip hop with just a different kind of sound to it.
It is. So it was easier because I went from making the music I was making to, all right, here's a clean country album, but still glorifying drinking and women, like, you know what I'm saying?
In the country music?
Right. And then it was like, didn't drop that last drop was August 24. I didn't drop until February 26. So you're talking about a year, 18 months. So it's still, I wouldn't say it's easy to make the music because I got a notepad full of music, but it's like releasing it is where I feel was like the harder thing for me. Because it's crazy because like I always tell people, like, I want to feel worthy. Like, I don't want to be a contradiction. You know what I'm saying? So it's like when I got closer to God, I was still, you know, like you said, that 1 foot in, 1 foot out. It's like I want to be there. I want to represent Him properly. You know what I mean? So it's like, got married. I didn't want to drop a record without being married. Me and my wife would live together for a few years.
Awesome.
You know what I'm saying? And I didn't want to drop music while living in sin. You know what I'm saying? We're sleeping in the same bed. We're living in the same home, knowingly. So I'm like, all right, I'm not dropping till we get married. And I could have dropped last year. I was like, but until we get married, I just don't feel like I should drop. So didn't. Then we got baptized in December, like you mentioned.
Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you, man. Thank you, man. And even then, it's like, God, you know, Jesus died on the cross for our sins. It's like, got baptized. I'm like, dang. Sometimes, like, you know, like, dang, should I get baptized again? But it's like, you're not even doing anything terrible, but you're just like,
I feel that.
you know what I mean? Like, I'm just being real. I'm probably thinking what people think. It's like, dang, I want to get baptized again. But then how many times am I going to say, you know what I mean? I'm going to get baptized 30 times, you know, before. Oh, J.Rob's doing it again. It's the first Sunday, you know what I mean? But I think that I'm gonna keep it real, bro. I think that the hardest thing was to like, all right, I'm ready to drop. You know what I mean? So I dropped in February. And I could have dropped another one, but like I think I'm ready to actually start the dropping process of it.
Good, because God does call the unworthy and whatnot. So
and
there's going to be a level where you're never going to be perfect enough. You're never going to feel adequate enough.
Yeah.
And you just got to trust that your heart is in the right place.
Yeah.
And once it is, you're just never going to feel worthy enough or adequate.
Right.
And you just got to start going. I know that's how I was with this podcast. I was supposed to do this 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And I put it off for many, many years. And there's a part of me that still honestly doesn't really want to do this.
Mm-hmm.
But I was called to it, and I don't feel worthy and I don't feel adequate. But you just got to do it because he told you to. And that's a part of being obedient. And so I think it's time. I think it's definitely time. I mean, you know your own heart posture, so
no, I'm with you.
I back up, but
I'm with you.
You'll never feel adequate or worthy enough. And to everybody listening to, it's the same thing.
Right.
When God asks you to do something, you must answer,
right.
And that is what being obedient is, and that's also what having faith is.
Right.
It's having faith that if He's asked you to do something, it's going to work out and it's going to go in the way that it's meant to go.
Right. I agree with you because that one song, at this point, it's not about streams anymore. It's about ears, right? It's not about listeners. It's about
souls.
It's about souls, you know what I'm saying? And maybe these records won't do the 12 million that Goat Talk did or whatever, but it's like whatever it does is for the right ears. And maybe they used to be like the old J.Rob and they were halfway in, halfway out. But I drop a record and they're like, yo, this is a Christian?
Yeah.
This is fire. Like, you know what I'm saying?
It's good.
Thank you, man.
It's real good. I like it a lot.
Bro, I'm gonna play you some stuff when we finish it. I'm just like, yo, Lost and Found's cool.
Yeah.
But I got some records, like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's dope. I'm looking forward to it.
Do you feel like music was a gift, or do you feel like if it is a gift, is it also your purpose?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And I only say that.
To which one though? It's a two-layer question.
Dang. I feel like it's both. I don't
feel like it's a gift and a purpose.
Yeah, because like my dad, right? My dad was like, yo, this is how you do it. It was like, but I feel like if I didn't lose my dad, I wouldn't have pursued music. I would have been more into the sports thing. Like my music was more like, I got to do this for my dad because he was a rapper and he passed and he didn't get to do it. You know what I mean? But he was also 37. Being 10 years old, like I think my dad is the biggest thing in the world. Like, you know what I'm saying? But he was already older in the game. But it put a little fire in me. Like, it's like, all right, this is what my dad loved. This is what he wanted me to do. Like, so I want to do it. So I feel like it was a gift, but it's also my purpose. And I feel like the reason why I never really took off in the secular world is because maybe my purpose is to touch the souls and the ears of those who actually need to hear a testimony similar to mine. You know what I mean? And because I have listeners that are from, you know, that older music, and maybe, like you said, I need to just go ahead and drop so that they can. So my purpose is fulfilled, right? So maybe I never took off in that route because wasn't my purpose. Maybe I wasn't supposed to do my own tours and you know, sell a bunch of records because it wouldn't have any purpose behind it. Maybe I'm supposed to bring people closer to God. I mean, and that's how I feel. I don't even think maybe. I think that's what I'm supposed to do.
You feel like it is your purpose?
Yeah, absolutely.
So we know when we get to heaven, though, one day that we are given crowns in heaven for either spreading the word, this or that. But we know one of the crowns is for stewarding the gifts that we are given on earth.
Right.
Do you currently feel like you would get your crown in heaven for your gift and purpose being music? Or, and if not, what do you have to do? What do you feel like you need to do to get there, to get your crown?
That's a good question. I think I need to drop.
You don't feel like you would get your crown right now?
Not yet. No, not at all. Just because I'm not like pushing the word. Like I push it with my family. I think I lead my family properly, but our job is to bring more light to the world, and I feel like I've yet to do that yet. You know what I'm saying? So.
Well, that's its own crown for sure, but specifically your gift in music. I guess they kind of go two and two at that rate. But what would it take? You just got to drop more? What do you got to do? Yeah, I
think that's my gift, right?
Yeah.
I think my gift is music, and my purpose is to spread the word, right? Share the word, and hey, maybe I need to go home and upload a record now after this. You know what I mean?
Yeah, come on now. I'll be waiting. I'll be waiting. Yeah, send me some.
I got you.
I think a lot of the experiences that we get as individuals come from the circumstances of which we've grown up with, experiences that we kind of go through. I know I'm big into the gym, and a big lesson that I've learned was not judging newbies. So when I go to the gym, I love to see new people at the gym. You know, they're overweight, they're trying to change their life, all these things. I get so excited to help them and teach them stuff in the gym. But I do the exact opposite in the church. I see somebody that's making these life decisions, I immediately want to judge them like, oh, what are you doing? Like, you need to hang that up right now. You got to turn away from that path. I don't let them kind of develop in Christ.
Right.
That's kind of been
Without
my
judging.
biggest lesson. What do you feel like have been some of the biggest lessons that you've gotten in the music industry that you could speak to other people?
Perfect example is just like somebody comes to you and asks you for advice. Don't be the person that like glances at it and keeps it pushing, because we were always that kid. You know what I mean? And I think that's probably just always being an open ear and be willing, if you have the time to respond to a message like that, respond to it. Because we probably, you get that message and you go check out their music. It's probably not the greatest, right? But
yeah.
my music was never always the greatest. It was
you got flamed on your
on my school bus. You know what I'm saying? But I think what you brought up is a perfect example that we all are learning in the early, like you just like judging, right? Getting back into the church. It's easy to focus on what you're doing right as a Christian again. You know what I mean? And then also easy to focus on what somebody who's doing wrong, like, somebody may, like we said, post a Bible scripture, and then the next post is
And we've all done it
in the club, or you know what I mean, or wearing something that is more revealing, right? But we have to remind ourselves, like, yo, just 6 months ago, what was I? Was I right where I am now, or did I
grown?
Did I grow? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because if you're not growing, you're dying.
Right. So I think that's a good example. Is just always remembering that we're not perfect, but we are always looking to grow. Whether that be, I'm getting better musically to this day. You know what I mean? And my ears, 6 months ago, I was listening to Christian hip hop. 6 weeks ago, listening to Christian hip hop. Suddenly, like 2 weeks ago, like my playlist is just all praise and worship. It's crazy. It's just like crazy. Can't tell you why, how. I can tell you who, like, you know what I mean? But it's just, I have my moments where I want to hear this, I want to hear that, but there's phases in my growth, and I just think that's everything in life. You know what I mean? So just, yeah.
Absolutely. What is music to you?
Music to me is like, it's a way to receive the word. I really think it's a way to receive the word. But music to me, it's vibrational. Yo. It's mood changing. Just like getting on your knees and praying is mood changing. I think music does the same, and I feel like everybody has their own form of receiving the word. Some people receive the word through praise and worship. Some people receive it through the messenger, being the pastor. You know what I mean? And some people receive it by reading their Bible. But I think when you can incorporate all three of those, like, that's a great way to receive that. So music to me is just another message. It's another messenger.
It's just another way that you receive the Holy Spirit, you feel like?
Absolutely.
And so I just think that's another reason that you're going to be able to be so good at spreading it. And really
I need to spread it.
In.
Yeah, I need to spread it. Yeah.
So we know a lot about Satan, or I guess we do when we don't, as Satan as the angel. But there are people say that he was the angel of worship, angel of music. You can interpret it however you want. It's not really super clear on that part, but I think we see demonic forces the most prevalent in music, and you could say that's why. What is the most kind of demonic stuff that you feel like you saw in the music industry?
Fortunately, I didn't see much of that. You know what I mean? I was never actively like in the LA scene in Hollywood. It was just more like travel and, go to the next city. I wouldn't say that, like I said, thank God, like I never saw anything like that.
Yeah,
but
you really got protected.
Absolutely. And I can say maybe that's why, you know what I mean? Maybe I feel like the music was good enough to be in that scene, but maybe I got protected from that, and I'm thankful for it. You know what I mean?
So could you just speak about kind of what you've seen then, even though you may not have experienced it? Why do you feel like demonic forces are so present in the music industry? Everywhere you look, people are like stripping here. People are wearing devil costumes.
Right.
You got Doja Cat dropping "Paint It Red." She's literally the devil in the music video, painting the world red.
Yeah, I think that because we're never truly ourselves, I think always either up all night and lack of sleep, you know what I mean? Or just up all night drinking or partaking in other things. I feel like when you're not all the way there and able to be yourself and be aware in a situation, it's just, you get stuck and you're vulnerable. You don't have any connection with God. You're not praying. There were times where I'm like, all right, I'm gonna pray, and I'm gonna pray before I go to sleep, but I'm gonna pray laying on my back. Like I went to St. Louis last summer, and I walked by my grandma's room in August, and I saw her on her knees praying. And ever since I saw that, I get on my knees in the morning and I pray instead of just praying when I wake up or praying before I go to sleep. So I think that when we aren't making time for things like that, like we're just vulnerable. And when we're, drunk, lacking of sleep, we're not all the way there. I think that's where you have that ability to just not have that access to God or any form of connection to really protect you from that, to where you don't even notice what's going on. You know what I mean? So I think that's all I would say. It's just, I think that when you're not aware of the protection that's available, I think in Lost and Found, I say, ain't aware of God's favor, and it's dangerous. Like, change your ways, you're gonna make your mama anxious. Outside, and your mama hate it. That was me. Like, it was just like, I wasn't aware of the favor that God had for me because I was too stuck in the world. I was too stuck outside, wondering where the next party is. I was focused on women and wasn't aware of the favor God had for me. And my mom was worried. Like, my mom told me she was praying for me. And it's not that I was just I wasn't a criminal. I wasn't, publicly doing wrong, but I was living wrong.
Yeah,
and
but
I feel
you were
like
away from the Lord.
I was away from the Lord.
That's
yeah,
way scarier, honestly.
Right, and I feel like that's where I decided to wake up, was just like, all right, I'm aware of God and what He could do for me. And my grandfather told me back in 2019, we had a conversation outside in front of his garage, and I know we probably just went 360 from your question, but
okay.
He told me, he said, you'll never get where you want in life with your music until you put God first. And
my mom told me the same thing, just kind of, but
with this,
yeah,
it's 26. I'm like, all right, Grandpa, like, what I'm saying? Yeah, you're right. I think I was fresh off getting a DUI that year. Like, I was just like, all right, yeah, you right, Grandpa. Like, you know what I'm saying? And then but it's true. You know what I mean? Crazy enough, Grandpa just passed last month. It actually passed the morning that Lost and Found was set to come out that night. And I just think that was just, he had dementia, so he was getting sick, you know what I mean? But I just think that was just really crazy that he passed the morning that Lost and Found was supposed to come out that night. And I just never forget, I've never forgot, especially as I got closer to God, that until I put God first, this is never going to go where I want it to. And I think it's very accurate, you know what I mean? So, yeah. Definitely, like I said, good question, but
all good.
But I'm glad I am where I am now.
Absolutely. I think one of the big things that I've always noticed is the Bible talks about how pride is the number one sin. But then the devil also fell because of his pride, and there's also a level of vanity, and that vanity being like the obsession with oneself and all of that. I feel like you see a lot of that in the music industry as well. People get so enamored with themselves. How do you combat that? Like, you are on stage, you do have people cheering for you.
Right.
How do you kind of combat the vanity aspect, not getting caught up in it, but trying to like give the glory back to God?
Be honest, I couldn't tell you. I haven't had to perform as a Christian artist, so I wouldn't even know where to start. I feel like that's even hard for like the praise and worship teams. Like, are you guys here to watch me praise, or are we here to praise God together? You know what I mean? Am I here to take the spotlight of this moment during the praise and worship, or am I here to glorify God with you? And I think, like, you went to that Hovey show last year when they're chanting Hovey. He's like, no, Jesus, Jesus. I think that's a perfect example. You mentioned the Forrest Frank situation earlier. I think that's a perfect example.
What I was about to bring up next.
As, you know what I mean, that.
For those of you who don't know the Forrest Frank example, Forrest Frank he was nominated for an award at the Dove Show. He basically said he wasn't going to go. Basically, he didn't want to receive an award for basically what Jesus had done in his life. Jelly Roll flamed him. He was basically like, oh, but you'll take all this money, blah, blah, blah. And then Jelly Roll went and took his award on the Dove Show. Right.
I think, you kind of asked me how I felt about that. I get it. Like, you know what I mean? His music is great, and it does numbers, and it does numbers for a reason. He wants to be the message, not the messenger. You know what I mean? He wants the message to get out, and maybe he doesn't want that award, like we were saying earlier. It's like people get obsessed with the messenger, not the message, whether it be a pastor, whether it be an artist. And I think that he made it clear that he just wants to spread the message. And I think that a lot of people can judge that as they want. He may give 20% out of that straight to the church. You know what I mean? We don't know where.
We have no idea where his finances
it might
are.
be 50.
Also, God trusts those who are generous.
Right.
So we just have no idea what he's doing.
We don't know what he's doing with that. He knows it's coming from from him doing
Yeah.
God's work, he might give a lot more than 10%.
Yeah.
But it's not our job to pocket watch. It's not
Yeah.
our job. I think he knows exactly what he's doing, and I think that's why he didn't want that
Yeah.
award. You know what I mean?
So do you feel like it would have been a problem if a Christian takes the award at the Dove Awards?
I wouldn't say it's a problem because it's a problem because at the end of the day, it's an accomplishment, right? Being an artist is like a sport. There's a Super Bowl, there's a World Series, title. At the end of the day, it's you're putting in the work. So I don't think that anybody would have looked at him any differently if he took it. But he didn't want to. That's his own.
That's his own heart posture.
His own heart. Yeah.
I've always kind of looked at it as like if God's called you to do something, there's still a level of you have to put the faith in. You have to take the blind step.
Right.
He never just gives you the path. So there's a lot of blind steps you just have to take.
Right.
And then you got to put the work in, all this other stuff. I think there is like a celebration, not in like you need to glorify any one person,
Right.
but also like there's nothing wrong with being awarded in a sense of you did take that step. You did do all of that. Now, obviously, God did all of that through you, but there's also the other end of it where you had to still take a step.
Right.
And so acknowledging that God did something amazing through you because you took a step is also amazing in its own.
Look at Moses. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, it's like that's a good example. We all to this day know who that is, and know that he had to take that step, and God worked through him. You know what I mean? So it's like I think I don't think anybody would have been mad at him for accepting that award, but I think people should be understanding as to why he didn't want it. You know what I mean? So
Absolutely. So now that we've kind of talked about how do you feel like you are going to combat the vanity of the music industry? Do you have any ideas? What do you?
I think you just need to I think being a Christian is what comes first. Before being an artist, be a Christian. Before being a politician, be a Christian. Before being anything in life, once you put being a Christian first, everything else will follow. And I think as long as that is my focus and as long as that is anybody's focus, everything in life, will fall into place.
I mean, literally everything, even in a marriage, it's God, then your wife, not your kids, your wife, and then your kids. So God first is the pecking order for everything.
Right.
I think that's something that a lot of people just kind of forget. It's kind of like their work, maybe their kids, then their wife, then God. And then it's just like church on Sunday. You really need to have that Monday morning faith, really.
Right.
People go to church on a Sunday and then they don't do the rest of everything else on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Just like a checkbox for them.
Right. So I try to make sure I wake up in the morning, I say my prayer on my knees, like I told you, seeing grandma, I'm like, all right, but that's a perfect example. She didn't even know I saw her. It's like, all right, walk by grandma's room through the little crack,
in the door.
saw her on her knees. I'm like, dang. When I get home, I'm gonna start praying on my knees. Now my kids see that. I don't know what they might do that. You know what I mean? But it's like that's a perfect example as to being a light in the world without knowing it. People are watching, but somebody's always watching. So I think that when you put being a Christian first, now Monday I wake up, I say my prayer, then I read my book, I read my word, start work a little bit on my break, read my word again. You know what I'm saying? It's more than just going to church on Sunday. It's more than just saying, all right, I prayed today. It's just feeding your soul. It's something that needs to be fed. You know what I mean? And I feel like once I started feeding my soul and putting that first, and I could still be better. I'm not, you know what I mean? I could probably do a lot more. I could watch one less basketball game. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm being real. I could probably do a lot more. But when that's first, I think everything else will guide it. So I'm not worried about how am I going to maneuver. Because as long as I put being a Christian before being the artist, I think I'll be fine.
Now, you've seen how one moment, just seeing your grandma, has influenced you about praying and all these other things. So what are you trying to do to make sure that you influence your kids in the right ways?
Think before I speak, take a breath, you know what I mean? We're
no.
human, right?
Give ad,
you know what I mean?
off.
You know what I mean? And I just make sure I pray with them before they go to sleep. I make it a thing to, all right, we're going to bed, we're going to go up here, we're going to pray together, you know what I mean? Pray before your food. I got to pray before my food, you know what I mean? So I think just operating how I want them to operate, I think that's the best way is to just be an example.
Show, not tell.
Show, not tell. I'm 32 and I saw my grandma praying and I was influenced by that. They're 11 and 12, you know what I mean?
Kids are sponges.
You know what I'm saying? So,
right on, man.
Yeah.
So what's next for J.Rob the Chief? Sounds like you might have a name change.
Yeah.
What's going on over here?
I'm running through a few names, man. I think I'm locked in on one.
Okay.
And it's to do with Grandpa and me. It's kind of like a blend name, but I feel like, you know, I'm J.Rob. Like J.Rob is Jeremy Robinson. You know what I'm saying? It's my name. But I feel like I want to. I feel like I want to just hit the reset. I've already deleted a good percentage of my catalog, probably like 80%.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was.
Was it hard?
I think the harder thing was thinking about doing it, but the moment that I did it, it was just like. I think I was on a work call, and I was just like, you know what? It was just like, it was easy. I wasn't tripping, you know what I mean? And if that's what y'all wanted, it should have popped off. It didn't, you know what I mean? So now y'all can listen to what I got coming. But I think I'm gonna do the name change.
Okay.
My birthday is next month. I think maybe I'll pop out with it around then, or the next drop. You know what I mean? And just see, you know, Simon turn to Peter. You know what I mean? I feel like it's a rebirth in a way. You know what I mean? And I think it's gonna be good.
I think so too. I'm excited.
Yeah.
When do you think we can expect this next drop?
What's today? I want to try to drop.
15th.
I want to try to drop something. I'm trying to drop like 2 here before my birthday.
When's your birthday?
April 11th. So I think I need to drop one. I think I need to go home and upload one.
That's like literally the next back-to-back Friday.
Yeah. So I think I need to go home and upload one. Maybe drop something. Not next Friday, but the Friday from there.
You have 3.5 weeks, almost 4.
I think I'll do it. I'll be all right.
Yeah.
So maybe drop something 2 Fridays from today.
Okay.
And then drop one on my birthday. But I think once I get that going, it's gonna be like, all right, every 2 weeks, because I got some records, man. Like, it's gonna be dope. So
you got how many do you think you got in the vault?
I think at least 11. At least 11 just sitting, right? But the thing is like I used to make a bunch of records and just make them. Now I make records with purpose, and I used to make a record in like 30 minutes to an hour. Now it's like I take a few days on these records because I want to make sure it's coming from a place to where like I just want to make sure it's like complete. You know what I'm saying?
When you're making records on purpose, but for a purpose as well. Now.
Right. So now it's like, all right, I'm gonna take my time.
Yeah.
So to me, like 11 used to be like, oh, that's nothing.
Yeah.
But 11, when you think about 11 records, you think about 22 weeks. So right now I'm 22 weeks ahead. I can make 11 more in that 22-week period. So it's like I'm pretty well off right now in terms of having the records. I just need to drop them.
Will we get an album or just a couple singles?
I don't want to do an album right now.
Yeah.
I just want to do singles and let them do their work. You know what I mean? I'm fully capable of making one. It's just not what I want to do.
Absolutely. Well, that's the end of my notes. You got anything else that you specific? That's about an hour.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, that was about an hour.
That was great. That's a great conversation.
I thought so too.
Nothing specific that I want to touch on. I would just say, you know, if you feel like you're close to God and you feel like you think God knows your heart, but you know you could do better, I'd do better. You know what I'm saying? That's just what I say.
Yeah, let that conviction stir up and then follow it as well.
Yeah, you know, if you know you can do better.
Don't just sit in conviction.
Right.
Yeah.
'Cause that's what I did for a while. I tithing. I'm praying.
How has tithing opened up the door for you?
I think it's just, I don't even know how to explain that because I don't want people to tithe with the expectation of receiving something back because that's not what it's for. You know what I mean? But I've literally watched how tithing works. Like I've like, you know what I mean? Like,
well, it's turning over of your heart posture. Money is the one thing that we all want to hoard. We're so protective over it. So when you turn over that 10% and you're saying, God, I'm even going to trust you with my finances.
Right.
I feel like that's when doors open up. And it may not just be financially or you might not receive a huge blessing, but I do really believe that opportunities or some sort of something opens up. Either whether that's just your own heart posture opening up, something really opens up when you turn over that trust to the Lord.
The way I look at it, man, that 10% is never even mine. So, like, no matter my financial situation, if I need that 10%, it's not mine when it came in. So it's got to go. And I'll get what I need to get however I got to get it. And it always comes. You know what I'm saying? So I think that tithing has made me less selfish in life in general because, like I said, it's not mine to begin with. It belongs to the church. It belongs to God. But I think that has enabled me to be more willing to not be selfish in life, just in general. You know what I mean? And tithing, it's like, you know, if you can't tithe, you know, you might be able to serve in the church. You know what I mean? But I feel like it's put me in a position to realize that, you know, we are the church as a whole. Like the church is us. You know what I mean? And we have to, like, we give the church the ability to be the light to others with our tithes. You know what I mean? So me tithing, whatever I tithe, and somebody who might make 10 times more than me tithing whatever they tithe, it's the same. Yeah, it's the same, and we just have to understand that, you know, it's a part of growth for me, man. I feel like once I told you, once I started doing that, and it helped me understand you know, that giving is more than just the finances, right? But it allows me to give more emotionally too. So
it's the opening of that heart posture.
It's a heart, man.
You had one last message for either anybody that's trying to chase music in the Christian music scene, or just anybody in general on their walk of faith. What would that last piece of advice be?
Be the light, man. I just like be the light. Like, you know what I mean? Like let's light. I think right now it's becoming cool to love Jesus and love God. I think that I need to drop, right? Because I am somebody who can make it look fly to love. But I think that if you have that ability, just do that. You know what I mean? Talk to the kids and say what's up. You know what I mean? Talk to somebody you wouldn't normally talk to and make their day. You know, call somebody you wouldn't normally call and be their light. You know what I mean?
I think that's where a lot of people get stuck up, though. This is my last piece, is you kind of talked about make it fly. Like, why does Christianity feel so corny to so many people? Why does the Christian music feel so corny? Like, what have you seen that like makes it feel that way? Is that just the enemy planting seeds in our heads, trying to be like, yo, this is corny, don't do that?
That's exactly what it is, man. It's just because it's not what everybody else thinks is cool. You know what I'm saying? But you just gotta stop caring about everybody else. Yeah. But then when you get into it, you like, there's actually a lot of people who think this is fly, and they're a lot flyer than everybody else. Yeah. So it's like, yo, all right. You know
Especially when you put friends around you who really walk in the same way that you're walking, and you just kind of see, you know, how much more fruits there is, just how much nicer that kind of group is to everybody. And now, I'm not trying to flame any old friend groups or whatever, but you just kind of see the fruits and the way that they walk and just the way it kind of is a blessing to everybody around them. You just kind of see just how much of a blessing it is to yourself almost. Just kind of being in that countercultural walk.
Exactly. So I think the goal should just be to bring as many people to that as we can. You know what I mean? And let them feel that energy. Be that battery. You know what I mean? That's the best way to say it. Be the battery charger for those and don't get drained.
I love it.
So
I appreciate you for coming on the show, brother.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you having me. Yes, sir.